Mr. Talk Reviews coming at you, and we are here. We're finally here. When I first started this channel, like 7 or 8 years ago, probably now, I always intended to do One Piece reviews, but I just always felt like I should wait until I'm a better reviewer, and I don't know what that really means. Just I can talk more easily and free flowing. I think that's what that means. But yeah, Under the Luck is finished now, and I was kind of thinking, when will I ever be ready? Like, people always kind of like just use that as an excuse. Oh, I'll do it when I'm ready. I don't feel like I'm good enough yet. But when will you ever be ready until you just start doing it and just get better at it? And One Piece is a series I really respect and love. So it is literally my favorite manga. Because of chapters like this, I need to stop with this intro and just get into the chapter because I really want to talk about the mural. And I know everyone else wants to talk about the mural. Everyone's going to come out with the theories. Oh my God, the mural. But go to the chapter tab when I talk about that because I took notes and I've got a lot to say for this mural page. Oh my God, One Piece is so hype. This is the difference from Undead Unluck. Like, One Piece just has a different level of hypeness, like, and a lot of other mangas do as well. Because just in this chapter, we're darting around the place. There's a bigger world to explore, and there's so many things to get into. We get the Cerberus fruit as well. So, let's just get into it. We got this chapter is chapter 1138, the Harley. It's kind of why weird they call just the Harley because when it said the Harley, I just remembered the Harley motorbikes because the cover page shows that it was who's who in the secret base they found before. And he just kind of has like the Harley rider kind of look. I guess most of the like beast pirates did with like the horn and the leather jacket aesthetics and whatnot. But yeah, that's it for the cover page. We need to get into this chapter because we start off with Loki and the two gods knights, Gunko and Shanks' brother. What is his name? Sherlock again? Shamrock, Sherlock. I would have preferred it if it was Pierce or what's the other one? What Shanks and then Stab or but Pierce. My friend said that and that was really funny because Pierce is like a real name and obviously the action of piercing, which is similar to Shanks' name of Shank, but his name is Shamrock. Similar kind of names. I guess parents do that sometimes. Just give all their kids similar sounding names. Shamrock, Shanks, both starts with SHA. Even in my family, we have that. So Loki brings up the fact that Shamrock looks like Shanks, and we also get Luffy and the rest of everyone talking about Shamrock and Shanks. And I'm glad all this twin nonsense is being brought to the forefront straight away because I didn't want the whole typical thing of, oh whoa, is that really Shanks? And like no one knows it's not Shanks, but everyone kind of knows it's not Shanks. Shamrock, Loki here, for example, brings up the fact you look just like Shanks, but obviously Loki's not an idiot. He sees he hasn't got the scar, and he probably has two arms. He does have two arms. We'll see that in the chapter. Loki just flat out says, "You look like Shanks. What's going on here?" And Shamrock actually humors him with an answer. This is what I'm appreciating, that Shamrock actually just gives us a full out answer on this, and we don't have to long it out too long. He is Shanks's older twin brother. It's kind of interesting that he specifies young and older. He says that Shanks actually came back to Marijwa at one point, but Shanks preferred the filth, the filth of the lower world. He just enjoyed the freedom of the lower world. Really, that Shamrock seems to have might have a thing against Shanks because why did he bring up that he's the younger twin? That older twin complex. I wonder how that is for a twin, like being the older one. If they really do, most normal people probably you don't really care about it. Yeah, you were born like 2 minutes ahead of me. It doesn't really matter. They'll probably just make a joke out of it. That's what you see in like in sitcoms and whatnot. Shamrock actually has that kind of complex, probably because Shanks as well did stay in the lower world. He just has a gripe against Shanks. He's just like, "Ugh, you filthy mutt." But yeah, Loki brings up that it is quite interesting that the family line has wronged him twice, essentially, because it's Shanks' fault that Loki's locked up like this, because Loki was out in the world doing his pirating things, but Shanks took him down. I guess Loki was a bit too more chaotic because Shanks is a chill guy, like Luffy says later in the chapter. Shanks is a way chill guy, nothing like Shamrock. Wouldn't do anything, any kind of thing Shamrock's doing right now. But Loki does say, "You know what's gonna happen when I get out of the shade, bro. Shit ain't sweet, my guy. You killed all my homies, and now you're beating me up, trying to make me join you because I don't want to join you. You're fucking with me even more. You go catch these hands when I get out." We see again, Shamrock has a bit of a temper issue because he's like, "You dream of threatening me, Loki? You know who the fuck I am?" Like he's kind of like that, bro. Like he's got a bit of a temper challenge. But even Shanks has a bit of a, he likes to fight. All right, he grew up on Roger's crew. He was the Pirate King's apprentice kind of thing. He likes to fight. I always remember that one scene when Ace went to find Shanks, and then Ace is like, "I'm Roger's son. I wanted to meet you." And Shanks was like, "Oh, you're Roger's son, and you came to see me." Grabs the sword, man. So that means you want to fight. Shanks is always on smoke for no reason. Like, and Ace was like, "No, no, no. I just want to meet you. You're one of my father's compatriots. Why would I want to fight you?" But he grew up around Roger and Whitebeard. We saw like whenever Roger saw Whitebeard, it was on sight. So Ace, I'm sorry, Ace fans, he didn't have that dog in him like Roger did. But anyway, Gunko says we don't have time to waste on this. Shamrock says, "You're right. I don't even need to dirty my hands with this filthy mongrel. You do it." And he pulls out his sword. His sword doesn't turn into Cerberus, but you see the dog mouths coming out the sword, and then out the sword comes the Cerberus. And I'm just realizing now as well, it has the ribbon like an awakening. He has an awakened sword. How does a sword get awakened? Don't you have to spend a lot of time with the fruit as well? When was this technology? I thought Vegapunk invented the technology to allow devil fruits to be eaten by inanimate objects. And Luffy had his Gumu Gumu no Mi for like 10 years, 10, 13 years. So we were going off the basis that that's how long it takes to like get in tune with your fruit. And how does a sword get more in tune uh with a fruit? But it is this zone type. Maybe it's actually easier for an object to gain an awakening synergy wise. And I guess it's a Mato grade sword, so that's how you like level up, as in getting stronger by ranking up your strong. Probably what is it? Is it the top grade O Wazamono? Probably O Wazamono grade, Saijo O Wazamono grade sword. So it meets the criteria for how powerful like your body and mind needs to catch up with the fruit. That's what Kaido said. So being a Saijo Owazumono sword checks off that criteria, but its mind, because like I'm saying, an inanimate object is a blank slate. So the fruit and the inanimate object probably just meld well together. The mind part is inert for that condition of awakening. So essentially, all you have to do to awaken a devil fruit for an inanimate object is to make it Saijo Owazumono grade. Even if, let's say, Kaido's Kanabo, if Kaido's Kanabo got a devil fruit, I think it would be immediately awakened. It would be an awakened fruit because the inanimate object is that strong. But back to the chapter, Shamrock sets off Cerberus, and the attack it pulls off is pretty wild and wacky, man. It turns its like tongue. It's not even turning its tongue. It just got a sword sticking out of its throat now. It's all three of the heads of the dogs has a sword sticking out of their throat, and it's not its tongue because you can still see its tongue wagging outside like that. It's kind of a derpy tongue wag for the actual Cerberus. So the Cerberus has collars on all of its heads, and they start spinning, and then it shoots off. Shamrock says scramble, so I guess that's his attack name for the projectile of Cerberus. So the head shoot off the main body, and then we actually see the rest of Cerberus absorbing back into the sword. So it's probably a limited time projectile kind of thing going on with the Cerberus fruit. It can shoot off its head, and the main body stays for can stay alone, and the main body is the actual fruit entity itself. Goes back into the sword, but the projectile heads will exist for a bit, and then when they stab Loki, they'll dissipate. So while Shamrock is pulling off this attack, Gunko makes an arrow bird that they can jump on, and she says to conceal your presence. And this is really interesting. I think this is the first time in One Piece we actually get a mention of how to calm down your haki so someone doesn't notice you. Someone else who has observation haki doesn't notice you. Why doesn't Luffy sense Shamrock and Gunko coming through? They are really strong. You could have said maybe Elbaf is huge. We don't actually get the scale of Elbaf. Maybe it's too far for Luffy to sense. But this is even better. We have confirmation. You can conceal your haki. You can't just always be sensed. So Gunko and Shanks run off. They got a dip, do their own business. And Shamrock says, "You can feel free to try and come kill me if you can survive this." And the attack from before, the Cerberus heads, all three of them stab straight into Loki. Loki even says, "Yo, I can't handle this. What are you talking about? If I survive this, I cannot handle this. This is too much even for me." And Loki gets stabbed through by all three of the Cerberuses. But I do want to mention that his face kind of looks a bit black. So he might have done some concentrated ornament haki. But I don't know if that's just the shading Oda did or what, but he might have some haki in there. It's not as much blood spewing out as I thought would be spewing out. But would Oda just kill Loki like that? And that would be pretty interesting. That would be a major subversion of expectations, but I don't think Oda would do that. And Loki's too badass to kill straight away. So Gunko and Shamrock are flying off, and Shamrock says, "Pacifying all of them will be way too hard. We need to get some of their children, and that they need to call one more God's Night in." So yeah, they're here to actually subjugate and take over Elbaf. I wonder why right now is it happening after all this time. I'm pretty sure it was 6 years ago Loki killed King Harold. Why didn't it happen like after that? But maybe it's just coincidence. Everything's happening now. Maybe because of Vegapunk's message. Even maybe because of Vegapunk's message, Gorosei and the world government are like, we need to get some firmer grip on this world now. We need to take over what's it called, Elbaf. And once they've taken over Elbaf and that's announced, the world government will be on a whole nother level of power. Now we move over to the castle. Frodo, I think Zoro, Chopper, and Nami, and of course Luffy went over there to get the key, I believe, to unlock Loki. But they run into the guards that Gunko and Shamrock roughed up before. Luffy says Shanks would never do something like that. It definitely wasn't Shanks. And I'm pretty sure someone even brings up that it could be he had a brother or something, maybe. But they are also saying he was just here. It's not impossible for him to come back. But I'm liking this because, of course, you're not gonna know for sure. This is very realistic, not stringing the reader on. Like having the dramatic irony of someone not knowing who a person is so annoying sometimes if not done well. But it's done realistic and well here. Luffy's really secure in the fact that that was definitely not Shanks. And when he sees him, he's gonna know straight away it's not Shanks. He does have different hair. He does not have the scar. He does have two arms as well. I guess in the confusion, those giants just didn't notice that he had two arms. Nami's like, you really have so much faith in him, don't you? And we do kind of forget that the other Straw Hats don't know Shanks. As the viewer, we don't realize, yeah, Luffy's the only one who's met this guy, and he's a Yonko. There's no way the other guys could even like catch a glimpse of him. in their original situations. Maybe Brooke at one point might have, but and even Frankie. Frankie was on Galley. Like Frankie might have met Shanks once or twice, maybe. He's at Water 7. Nami's like, you trust him so much. And Luffy's like, of course. Wouldn't you be mad if someone said rubbish about your mom, Molly Mere or whatever? He mispronounces Belmere's name. And this is interesting because there was a significant moment in what's it called, Egghead, when I think it was Luffy missaid either Kuma's or Bonnie's name, but then he found out about uh what Kuma's backstory, like the roughness of the sad story of Bonnie and Kuma, and he felt really awkward then. Oda said this, I think, in the FSBS. He felt really awkward then and made sure to always say either Bonnie's or Kuma's name correctly. I thought he would have figured that out, but if he maybe now he's reminded, he won't mistake it again. Because I feel like that was a character development moment for Luffy. Like, okay, I can't be out here disrespecting other people's, you know, parents' name and whatnot. I need to remember their name, especially if they're very important. But also, it is Nami, so it's more family vibes. It's probably all right. When it's brought up that maybe he has the identical twin, Luffy does say, I only knew him as growing up on a pirate crew. And we get a shot of the guy with, I'm gonna just shaggy hair, and I think whoever this guy is the person Loki was talking to before because he was calling him Mosa, which means shaggy or something. And the general consensus is that it's Scopper Gaban. I was thinking maybe, what's his name, Shiki, but I forgot that Scopper did have long hair, so this could be Scopper with gray hair. And you'll match the guy in the cover pages age ago that was drinking with Crocus. It's gotta be Scopper. It has to be Scopper. And I'm glad that was a little quick moment. We're over now to Franky and Ripley. Franky's taking a look at all the Adam wood, and Ripley's like, "Yeah, it's not really that sparse. You could probably sell quite a bit." And Franky's like, "You're the one who's supposed to stop me from trying to take some of the Adam wood." Saul already told Franky that it's a holy tree. Don't go cutting it down. But Ripley might have a side kind of like Nami, like looking for a bit of the cash. You know, she is of the old era of pirates, pillaging and all that. She is a warrior. So whilst they're there, they notice the mural. The mural. I feel like I say mural weird. Mural, but anyway, they notice the mural, and yeah, Ripley goes on to explain. Yeah, it was probably drawn by some kids during the Void Century, actually, and she kind of says it matter of factly. And Frank is like, yo, whoa, that is huge. I need to talk to uh Robin about this ASAP. And I won't say too much about the mural here because I'll dive deep into it at the end of the chapter. So we move on to the main crux of the chapter. Saul, Robin, and Chopper. Chopper was not at the castle. I was just remembering he was in the chapter. He was actually here with Robin. Soul shows Robin the Harley text. And this is where most of the myths come from in Elbath. I think I might have said Wano a couple times, but in Elbath. And because they're not able to translate it so well, that's why there's so many different myths revolving around it. And it's incredible. Robin is just able to read this text for them. This is a huge moment. They're still kind of warrior types. Only Soul is the first giant in years to properly know the words of the Harley text. This is a big moment. So here it is. We're here, the mural. Oh my god! This is so high. I never thought it's not a single page. A double page could be so hype. Oh my god! And it's technically just a painting, but all the pages are technically just a painting. Okay, so let's do this. The first world. Within the earth there was fire. Mankind succumbed to greed and touched the forbidden sun. The enslaved prayed, and the sun god appeared. The earth god raged, and with its serpent of hellfire shrouded the world in death and darkness, and they will never meet. The second world. Within the void there was breath. The forest god tamed demons, and the sun spread the fires of war. Those of the half moon dreamed, those of the moon dreamed. Man killed the sun and became God, and the sea god stormed, and they will never meet. Within the chaos there was emptiness. The inconvenient remnants recall the promised day and hear the voice of the half moon. The sun god dances and laughs, guiding the world to its end. The sun returns and brings a new morning, and they will surely meet. Okay. A lot. Ah, and then there's the huge mural with everything as well. Okay. So I think I wanted to say first, with trying to break down and analyze the actual text, the Harley text, we first have to think that not everything is as it seems. So what I mean by that is I think Oda wants to subvert a lot of our expectations in this. So I'm basically saying the opposite of Occam's razor. The most obvious answer is not the answer. For example, I just want to get into this real quick. I'll just get into this For example, the huge demon monster holding the sun. I'll probably put a little small picture of the thing on screen. Hopefully, I don't get. I've got a small channel. It doesn't matter. Yeah, the huge demon holding the sun. Immediately, I thought what I thought it was. I thought that would be Eam, but now I'm thinking about it. I think it might not be Eam. I think the person who is Eam is the one with the long crown underneath the Maxim arc thing and the dragons breathing fire. But I'll get into that soon. Let's first go line by line. Just see anything we can delve into, think about line by line. Within the earth, there was fire. Does that mean because in the mural we see fire all around the edges, but does that mean that in the first world the world was eternally on flames already, or does it actually mean within, like literally within the core of the earth has fire, like a hell type deal, like the actual core of the earth is magma, like there's heat down there? I don't know what significance that could mean. Mankind succumbed to greed and touched the forbidden sun. Maybe it's not the sun in the sky. Maybe it's the sun, the core of the earth. Mother Earth. It has some like kind of soul energy to it or something. I'm just thinking of these off the top of my head. This isn't even not even in the notes I have. The enslaved prayed and the sun god appeared. So this is obviously the start of the Nika myth. But my question is this the actual sun god, or is it the creation of the sun god fruit? Because in the initial like spoiler translation, in the second world, it said the god of the forest created devils or something, but here in the official translation, it says the forest god tamed demons but didn't create them. So I'm thinking, but it's still only mentioned about the forest god in the second world. So were there devil fruits in the first world? I'm inclined to believe not. I think the second world is when devil fruits came about, because that would have been around. The second world is Void Century time, I'd say, like, and then the third world starts like after the Void Century. As Saw said, the third world is supposed to be the current world. It's kind of like a prophecy. And that's another thing you kind of want to delve into. Like, is this mural a prophetic drawing or a drawing of what was happening at the time? Because if it's what was happening at the time, I believe it's obviously during the Void Century, so kind of the end of the second world. The Void Century is the end of the second world, so we are in the third world 800 years. I don't know, it could be a little mixture of both. Like, some of these things will come to fruition as well. It's kind of like in the second world, it's still the same fight going on, so maybe a lot of this similar things will happen. Maybe not every exact thing will be the same, but it will be similar. Sun God is going to fight that demon-looking guy, or as I'll get into it, Eam who replaced the demon-looking guy is my theory basically. But let's get back to the text. The earth god raged, and with it, serpent of hellfire shrouded the world in darkness. So obviously, the god of the earth wasn't happy about mankind touching the sun, or wasn't happy about the sun god appearing. It's kind of weird. Why we don't we don't get a reason why he was enraged. The enslaved prayed and the sun god appeared, and then it goes straight to say the earth god was raged. You might want to connect those two together, but it's probably the line before, because the mankind touched this forbidden sun. And who was being enslaved? Was it mankind? But they touched the forbidden sun, so I'd assume because they touched the forbidden sun, they got empowered. But did they touch the forbidden sun and get dragged down the hierarchical pecking order of the world at the time? I'm not sure. Earth God got arranged because of the Forbidden Sun. Maybe Earth God and Nika teamed up against the mankind who touched the Forbidden Sun in the first time. Because mankind touched the Forbidden Sun. They got like this power, started enslaving people. Sun God appeared to help the enslaved. Earth God wasn't happy about the enslavery as well, because of the enslavery as well, and didn't like the fact that they touched the Forbidden Sun. And with its serpent of hellfire shrouded the world in death and darkness. And who won't meet? Yeah, that's gonna be a multi-layered, deep one. Oda is not gonna reveal that anytime soon. It's not gonna be easy to know who they're talking about they will never meet again. Maybe we'll learn it in Elbaf, but I don't think it will be obvious in the slightest. All right, now let's get on to the second world. Within the void, there was breath. The forest god tamed demons, and the sun spread the fires of war. Okay, now, that one is interesting. There was breath. So in the death and darkness, there was breath. So kind of meaning that life was created. Are we talking about the life of devil fruits? As it goes on to say, the forest god tamed demons. Who are the demons? I was maybe thinking, because in this mural, you don't see Zunisha. And you'd think Zunisha would be a significant part. Some people are saying that the person with the crown, that thing she's standing on, kind of looks like a trunk, but I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it. They would have drawn it. Why would they draw just that as Zunisha? I feel like it would have been drawn more clearly that it was Zunisha. So I'm thinking the forest god tamed demons. Like, the only other big thing I see in here is this dragon. It's just a random theory, because I could see that being Zunisha. Maybe Zunisha will. And just the scale of it, but I guess Zunisha could have got bigger, because I was going to say the scale of the trunk to the Noah. I think Zunisha would be still way bigger than the Noah. But I could be wrong. I was thinking maybe that dragon that's breathing fire into the serpent's mouth, the dragon that's above the Yggdrasil tree, the forest god tamed that, and he became Zunisha somehow. There's definitely some weird fantastical thing going on with Zunisha. I feel like Zunisha was transformed into an elephant and wasn't originally an elephant. An elephant. That's what I'm thinking. Or maybe if it was even the serpent. Because what demons are they taming? Is the forest god taming these mythical powers and containing them into devil fruits? But it kind of contradicts what Vegapunk said about devil fruits being born out of human desire. If there was this forest god involvement, or maybe she takes the desire of a human and puts it into into a devil fruit. I don't know why I'm saying she. I feel like the forest gods is she. I feel like that is how it is usually in fiction. If there's a foresty type, planty kind of god, it's usually a she. So now the sun spreads fires of war. You know, the thing is, I've seen that people say the sun spreads fires of war. This is the sun god spreading the fire of the war. But I think when you look at it, if it says the sun god, it's the sun god. If it says the sun, that's a separate entity. It's like it's just a separate entity. It might not even be a person, just might be a thing that's doing stuff. Maybe by spreading the fires of war, it's the desire for the sun that is what's spreading the fires of the war, not it doing anything itself, but because of the want of it, everyone's warring over it, and that could kind of be what those star things that's jotted about everywhere. Everyone's trying to get a piece of the sun, like the mother flame. Just a tiny piece of the mother flame would be super powerful. It was able to power Uranus, so it could be something like that. The sun is like the mother flame, but on an insanely huge level, and that's what all these scraps are. Everyone's trying to collect it from somewhere. These little stars that's dotted about the place. Now, those of the half moon dreamed, those of the moon dreamed. Man killed. I'll stop there before. Now, those of the half moon dreamed, those of the moon dreamed. So I think the half moon is definitely the D. Yeah, the D clan. The half moon, looks like a D, man. So I think that is the D clan. They dreamed, and then those of the moon dreamed. So I'm thinking maybe these are the two main factions. Who are the people of the moon? Is it the Skypians? Because we know the Skypians came down from the moon before. Are they talking about the Skypians? And another interesting thing I wanted to point out, between the first world and the second world, like book graph things, I don't know what to call it, but there's like two small spheres behind there. And I think Oda did that on purpose. That's like a hidden little Easter egg. They probably hold the key to something. I can't tell what it is, because we know that the One Piece world has multiple moons, or possibly has multiple moons from the library of Ohara. In there, we saw, I think it was probably the One Piece Earth, and then a couple other satellites, orbitals around it. So we think the One Piece world has multiple moons. Those could be the other moons of the One Piece world. And what if it does look like it's cut in half? There is one there that has like a strip in it, so that could be the half moon. Maybe some people came from the half moon to Earth, and they just didn't have wings. Maybe they were just normal Earthlings, normal looking Earthlings. Maybe there's so many races in the One Piece world. Maybe the humanoid race wasn't originally there. Um, they came from the half moon, and some people came from the moon. Maybe extraterrestrial travel was just a thing in the One Piece world back in the day, kind of like a Gintama situation. There's just like loads of different races coming in and out of the Earth, and that's just how it was all the way back in the first world, and that's why there's so many different weird combinations in the One Piece world. That would be really interesting if this could become a space manga. This could become a space manga. We do have space pirates. Just fully go with it, Oda. Just become a space manga. That'd be insane. So now, man killed the sun and became God, and the sea god stormed. They will never meet. So with this last part, I'm thinking man killed the sun and became God. seems like the celestial dragons, but I have a subverted expectation for that as well. That seems the most obvious, but I have another thing. So, and the sea god storm, that seems to suggest to me because, like I was saying at the start, within the void there was breath, and the forest god tamed demons. Maybe that's the creation of devil fruits. And now the sea god is storming. That maybe that is the restriction of devil fruit users aren't allowed to be in the water because the sea god got pissed off with them taming beasts and having devil fruits. The sea god got pissed off with the forest god, and now the sea god's like, no more, nah, none of your kind are allowed in my oceans, in my domain. Now, within the chaos, there was emptiness. The inconvenient remnants recall the promised day and hear the voice of the half moon. So, hear the voice of the half moon. I think that is the will of thee. Like Roger and Luffy hearing the voice of all things. These are these inconvenient remnants. The whole D clan was not killed off. There's still sparks around the world. And they recalled the promised day and hear the voice of the half moon. So I think those might specifically speak to those who can hear the voice of all things. Maybe the voice of the half moon is the voice of all things, and it stems from the will of the D clan. Now, the sun god dances and laughs, guiding the world to its end. The return. So this is obviously the prophecy of Luffy destroying Fishman Island and whatnot. So he's probably gonna do it in Gear Fifth, laughing and dancing around and whatnot. And yeah, end of this world to create the fourth world, the final world, basically. Because just because of the end of the world doesn't mean it's a bad thing. We've had three worlds before, two worlds before actually. Now the sun returns and brings a new morning, and they will surely meet. So now everything wraps up. This is the happy ending of it. The sun returns because they killed it before. I don't know how it comes back after being killed, but we find a way. We find a way. That's the end of One Piece. Maybe it wasn't killed, but sealed, and maybe that's what the One Piece is. The One Piece is the sun. The sun. And once the One Piece is out, then the sun returns and brings the new morning, and they will surely meet. I do not know who they are. I have no theories as to who they are. The amount of time I've spent just looking at this mural. Yeah, yeah. It's been long. I'm just looking and thinking. But yeah, so I'll get into a couple things I wanted to get into. One thing is there's so many boats and whatnot. I thought at first they were all flying, but now I just guess they probably didn't have the artistic skill to like do a 3D like pan view of the ocean and whatnot. So they just yeah, the boats are probably in the ocean, and that would mean everyone else would be flying as well. I don't know why. Because we had that what was it? The flying ship with the in Elbaf the Spa. So I thought everyone had those, but no, I doubt everyone had those. And what's interesting, everyone fighting is on a boat, so it was kind of no fear for devil, not a lot of fear for devil fruit users. So it kind of leads into the theory that the drawback of not being able to swim when you have a devil fruit was not established yet because it looks like it's still a lot of boat warfare. But anyway, yeah, in this mural we have like all the races. There's even a little toad tartar I didn't notice before. There's uh a mermaid with the trident, which makes it seem like that is probably Poseidon. Uh, because there's a little, I want to call it a koi fish underneath that's chasing up with her as well, probably signifying she's the queen of the ocean. But let's go over to this huge big guy with the sun. And this is the main interesting thing to me. It literally shows him having the sun. Now maybe this like Ripley said, this is a child's drawing and they just hear the adults talking about the sun. Maybe it didn't actually look like this, like a ball of flame, the sun. Maybe that's just their interpretation of it, but just taking it at face value and it actually being the sun, it makes sense that the ancient weapon like Uranus is not being used anymore because they killed it during the Void Century during the second world. So if the sun was the power source for Uranus, that makes sense why the world government haven't used it in so many years. So maybe the mother flame is gonna be that sun that returns once it's fully completed. It will be that clean, eternal source of energy. But Vegapunk did say he didn't know how they were using the technology. Maybe this is uh what that elevator thing is now. That's the cultivation of the sun energy in order to create this technologically advanced city. And talking of the city, like I was saying before, it seems like the ancient city, but it gives me Germa vibes. I don't know why. I thought of Germa when I first saw this, and Germa are evil. And the smoke coming off and gives me pollution, just not good. Industrial, just it's dark. It doesn't look happy. You look at Yggdrasil, it's got a lighter tone to it. Like Oda could have drawn the ancient city to look pretty lighter, like a happy place, but it looks very despotic. And like I said, the cultivation, like the shaft of the whole thing, it looks like people are being forced to work. They're enslaving people. We have seen in the first world already there was slavery. And this rotating shaft thing, what I think it is yeah, they're cultivating the energy obviously to power the ancient city. But I was thinking maybe because on the right side it looks like they have halos, and then they go down, and then they come up, and they don't seem to have halos anymore. And even the last one on the right doesn't have a halo, and I found that interesting. So I was thinking along the lines of Brook. Brook, he's a weird amalgamation. He put it himself. I think he's like an abomination. He can draw on the power of the underworld. And what if that's what they're doing to power the ancient city? Sacrificing people down into the underworld and then resurrecting them back, like the same way that the Yomi Yomi no Mi brings back someone's soul. Maybe it is a one-time thing still, but you can do it. Or maybe it's just very traumatic to do and they force it on the slaves for them to do. Because yeah, what I'm thinking is they bring themselves down and then they die and then they bring them back and they're now able to channel that power of the underworld. Then that's the energy source. Vegapunk said he couldn't figure it out, but that's it, the power of the underworld. And that beast, the guy on the left with holding the sun, he has a couple of those stars around him, and I'm wondering, is that him using the stars, or is that someone else using the stars to hold his arm back? But I think it's him using those stars. He might be from the underworld himself. He looks very demonic. Um, and yeah, that would line up. Another thing I was thinking is maybe they're cultivating the power of the sea itself, and that is why the sea god got mad at the end because they're using ocean and cultivating this energy in order to uh, power their city and whatnot. And she just got pissed off, and so she was like, you know what? You're not allowed to use your most powerful thing in my domain. Or, or the sea god stormed could just mean the rising of the sea level. Nothing to do with the devil fruits. It's just the literal the rising of the sea level. The guys of Elbaf didn't understand it's because of Uranus destroying things. It raised the sea level. They were just like, oh, the sea god got pissed and absorbed everything on the world. So yeah, that's what happened. And another thing I want to bring up is the title of God. As we know in Skypiea, the title of God doesn't mean you're like this omnipotent being or anything. It just means you are the ruler. So I want you to reread the Harley text, but instead of saying gods, just say the ruler. So, for example, the enslaved prayed, and the sun god, the ruler of the sun, appeared. So this could be the person who's just in charge of looking after the sun. Like the mankind succumbed to greed and touched the forbidden sun. The shit that must have been someone guarding it, always protecting it. That could have been the sun god. And because Luffy, Nika, Gear Fifth has no sun kind of connotation powers. Why is it called the sun god? Why is Nika called the sun god? He has a rubbery body. He was just the one protecting the sun, and the one protecting the sun just happened to have a rubbery body. And yeah, that's just how he fought. He was just a guy, not just a guy, a really important guy, but he wasn't a sun deity. He was a protector of the sun. He's the ruler of the sun. He commands the sun. And because the humanity, mankind tried to steal it, and to steal it, they probably had to take him down somehow and like had him locked up or trapped for a bit. But then slave prayed, and he just appeared like as he would. It wasn't because of their prayers or anything, but he did appear. Maybe later down the line, because of their prayers and whatnot, because he appeared and he did save them. Next time everyone was enslaved, they hoped for Nika again. That bore the Gamu Gamu no Mi, or the human model, mythical model variant human, the sun god fruit. That's what I'm trying to say. Maybe the next time when they were enslaved, they created the sun fruit and Joy Boy came through. But the original guy was just a guy who came through. He's not a deity of any sort, just the guy. And then the earth god rage. So now we say the ruler of the earth. So whoever was in charge of the earth at the time, he had a serpent of hellfire. So that's probably the reason he was in charge. It could, I'm thinking it's this guy holding the sun. He's a huge behemoth guy with a serpent of hellfire. He just ruled the world. He's like, ha, 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 I'm in charge. Like I was saying before, if the One Piece world is interplanetary Gintama style, people just coming through, maybe he was just a super guy, super powerful guy, came from a different world, all from the underworld. Like I was saying, there's a lot of things you could say for this until Oda confirms. I'm going with all the theories I can get. Yeah, if this guy could have been the ruler of the world just through sheer force and power, and was just pissed off because the only thing that could match him was the sun, and it was always protected by Nika. And Nika probably could just about match him. Like if Nika probably could use the power of the sun as he is the ruler of it. So now continuing with the title of ruler. Now the forest god, the ruler of the forest, tame gods, tame demons. It still kind of does have the same meaning, but you could say it's not thinking of him as a literal god, but just a person who tamed demons, and put them into devil fruits. He's still just a person who scientifically, like Vegapunk, who's created devil fruits. Maybe through desire. I don't know who the demons would be. I was also kind of thinking maybe the demons are like all the Oni races with the horns and whatnot. They just call them demons because they have horns like demons. Maybe the ruler of the forest just became friends with all of them and like rallied them up so that we can take on this huge behemoth. And another thing I wanted to say about this huge behemoth, he might be the skull at Onigashima. I think he could be Onigashima skull. What made me thought of this? Because there's this one guy with a wicked long sword, and that reminded me of Onigashima, but it might be a spear because any other sword depicted does have the guard thing. So I think it might just be a spear. I was gonna say maybe that long ass spear thing is what was at Onigashima as well, but I think it is probably different. But I do think this guy, his head, is is the skull at Onigashima, because I'm assuming that this is not to scale, but a rough scale, because we can see all the different races have their own different size. Like the Totan is really small, like so. Just scaling it with the Yggdrasil tree, him lifting his arm up would make him bigger than the Yggdrasil tree. Maybe this is a younger version of the Yggdrasil tree, but it's only 800 years. Maybe maybe he's not as tall as it is now, but I don't know how. Actually, in 800 years, it's probably growing quite a little bit. May, but yeah, he's still pretty huge, towering over. Uh, it's way huger than Emmett. Emmett is huge, and he was bigger than Dorian Broggy. I'm pretty sure, wasn't Emmett really big? And this thing is depicted to be even bigger than Emmett. This thing is huge. So, real contender for the Onigashima skull. And like I was saying before, you might think that that guy is Eam. But what I'm thinking is he was just a completely separate ruler of the earth. And during the Void Century, it does say man killed the sun. I think that was Eam. Eam killed the sun in order to be the top dog, and he like stole through devil fruit trickery. However, what's his name? Blackbeard took Whitebeard's devil fruit. Some trickery like that steals the power of this behemoth, and that's what he can transform into. But this video can go on and on and on and on for ages. I'll make a separate dedicated video just for the mural. But oh my god, I've still got a lot of notes to get through, but I feel like I'm just going on. I need to edit this and put this out. So, we're doing the One Piece reviews. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. And Elbath!